The correspondence between these two domains, creation and revelation, is such that it, in a certain sense, to the extent that they are signs, all beings are verses of his book. It is cosmic dimension, in its cosmic dimension. To understand creation is to comprehend the book and vice versa. The journey of transposition, which leads from one short expression to the other meaning, is in a certain way the same in both dimensions and directions. The basic notion which underlies all the thinking of Ibn Masarra, conferring on it a manifest background unity in precisely this essential category of the revealed book. The book, as also happened in the esotericism of their scriptural tradition and in Sufism in general, has two dimensions. On the one hand, it is the open book of the cosmos, the book of nature, the universal book of the created. On the other hand, it is the scripture which transcribes revelation. It is the book of recitation, which the messenger transmits, the book which contains the keys to interpretation, code and synthesis of everything possible, explanation of everything that exists. Between both dimensions, the human being is the interpreter who internalizes the universe in his contemplation and articulates the word, externalizing it in his recitation. The interpreter thus brings about in his heart the essential unity of these two aspects of the book, at the same time as he constitutes its third dimension, the interior book of the sign of the soul. Very clearly appears as a unified category and axial symbol which expresses the relationship of revelation as a descent and interpretation as a return journey. Both processes, descent and ascent, occur on the same symbolic axis, in such a way that between the two realities there is a relationship of identity. Their relative difference is due to duration, to perspective. The process is inverse, but as in a mirror, symmetrical. Revelation, it is descent, shapes the configuration of a stairway. It is the same stairway that inspires interpretation, or transposition, or inference, if you prefer, remounts in its ascent through the degrees of manifestation and the corresponding verses of the Quran. In Ibn Masarra, we encounter a concept of reason or intellect, Akıl, associated with the notion of heart, purity, inspiration, insight, and proximity to God. Reason does not proceed coldly and mechanically through a series of syllogisms which, correctly formulated in the process of inference and according to certain logical premises, would lead automatically to primary truths. Ibn Masarra proposes to us, as emerges from his text, a contemplative, inspired reason, guided by revelation, which coincides with the word because it arises from it and it is conformity with it. The reflection of the inspired interpreter consists precisely in it, and following the step of the prophet. going back to the source of revelation by the way of revelation itself. The author is not encouraging the spontaneous reflection of a free thinker, as, for example, Goldsmith presumed of him. On the contrary, Ibn Masarra, proper, ultimately truthful thinking is not possible without the orientation of the prophecy. Rather, he is encouraging the personal interpretation which each receptor of the revelation has to actualize in order to ascend the ladder in the particular way that corresponds to him by virtue of the degree that his recitation has achieved, that is to say, his comprehension, his realization, and his internalization of the book. Some reflection on the term İtibar. Before proceeding to the reading of my translation of the selected passage of this matter, if we have time, without doubt, a significant choice of the author of Risala has been the use of term İtibar in the title, at least as it appears on the only copy we know, meaning reflection, interpretation, transposition, or inference. Preceding its literary employment among philosophers and Sufis, its use in explaining the first instance by its presence in various verses of the Quran, in which God invites man to i'tibar. The basic meaning of the lexical roots of his term is cross. To cross or to make a crossing from one part to another. From their i'ibara expression in the page, from the idea to its formulation, and ta'bir, interpretation, in particular of dreams, involves making the dream image return to its meaning. The term i'tibar is the masdar, or name of action, that's verbal as well as nominal, of the eighth form characterized by the infix ta. This grammatical form is normally, and in this case, the reflexive voice of the first form. And the object of reflection can be either direct or accusative, as in iftaqara, or indirect and dative, implying for oneself, for one's own benefit, and in the case of iktasaba. I understand that the term ibara corresponds to this second possibility, to interpret for oneself. To interpret or transpose is to make something pass from its expression and its manifestation to its meaning and its personal internalization. If we take this nuance into account, the mu'tabir, it is the interpreter who carries out this movement, the hermeneut who transfers the object under his consideration from one level or realm to another, from the sensible to the intelligible, from expression to meaning, giving it significance for himself, that is to say, in the intimacy of his heart or for his own development. By reason of its double nature as noun and verb, similar to that of an infinitive, this masdar signifies as much the interpretation, reflection, on transposition achieved as the practice of the process of interpreting, reflecting, inferring, and transposing. Let us see then how Ibn Masarra deals with the reading of the universe, the living experience of the book, and with the right and the duty of its interpretation.